sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports here live this morning, ready to do the Big Ten Conference over and under win show. We've done the SEC, we've done the ACC, and we've done the Big 12. We're going to wrap it up here today with the Big Ten. I'm here this morning with my man, SEC Sean of the SEC Sean podcast. How you feeling this morning, SEC Sean?
Good, ready to get into it. Last over and under show. After this, we're going to start probably working on team previews and just start. I mean, it's right around the corner, man. You got about, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks, and we're going to get some college football action. Of course, the NFL already kicked off their preseason, so we've got our little fix in with some football. But, most of us are really waiting for college football because preseason in the NFL was just you get to see some of the players from your favorite team in college get out there and play a little bit. But we're ready to get into some college football action. Let's talk about this over and under. And I know that we've looked at all those other conferences, and a lot of those teams, man, they just have teams in there that are really, really good in their conference, which really messes up some of the lower tier teams in the conferences over and unders. How do you feel about this conference? And is there some teams there that you feel like are just overwhelming favorites in this conference?
I do. I believe this conference is very similar to the SEC. I think the mid-tier is about with the SEC kind of where you've got your tops, your Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, from there. But then you start looking at what's Penn State going to do with that schedule. What's UCLA going to do, bringing in Chesney from James Madison? So there's a lot of unknown in the middle tier, but I compare it to the SEC to where the middle tier can beat up on each other, but the top team should be able to handle their business.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Well, let's get into this over and under show. First up, we got the Illinois fighting the Illini. And this is a team that we felt like would be a much better team than what they were last year. Their over and under is 7.5. And I feel like Illinois is one of those teams that they should be looking to improve on what they did last year because they didn't have quite the season that I expected them to have with the experience they had coming back. What's your thoughts on this Illinois team? And can they get the 8 wins?
They can. We're starting off right with one of those mid-tier teams. And I mean, you look at their schedule, they should start 3-0. That's a given. Ohio State, that's a loss probably. It's at Ohio State also. Michigan State, who knows what Michigan State's going to be? We don't know. This is one of the unknowns that I have. But they should beat them. Oregon is a loss. Maryland, Nebraska. Again, I mentioned UCLA. Iowa, we know, is going to have a really good defense. I'm torn on them. I think they can get to 8, but I'm going to take the under and they go 7-5.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards 7-5 as well, SEC Sean. I think they got a couple of swing games that I'm just not quite sure about. Can they get UCLA? Can they get Iowa? Those 2 games really concern me on this schedule. Otherwise, I would see them possibly getting there because I know they're probably not going to beat Ohio State. They're probably not going to beat Oregon, but that would have them at 10-2. I don't think they're going to beat Iowa, though. So that's 9-3. Those swing games, can they get Nebraska? Can they get Michigan State? I think they can get there, but it's going to be some battles in there where they're going to have to win some games, and UCLA as well. So I'm leaning towards 7-5 as well, but you went under. I'm going to go over. I'm going to say they get to 8-4 with this schedule. and I'm gonna take Illinois to do the over.
Yeah, that's one of those. We started off right with I should have given us a layup to start with, but I didn't. So
yeah, we got Dom H3U in there, and he says they are not beating Nebraska. Listen, Nebraska has the best fans in all of college football. Everybody loves Nebraska fans because they are some of the nicest people in the whole entire world. Nebraska, on the other hand, I don't know how good they're going to be, but I think that this is a time where their head coach has got to get this thing right. Otherwise, they might think about going back to the Big 12. Next up, we got the Indiana Hoosiers, last year's defending champions, 10.5 wins. They got a really good schedule. I mean, they face Ohio State, they face Michigan, USC, Washington. But outside of that, do we think that there's anybody else that could possibly give them some competition? What's your thoughts on Indiana getting to 11 wins? That means they got to go 11-1. How do you see this thing playing out?
Man, I need to call Mark Cuban and find out who he paid to get a schedule like this as the defending national champions. Because they brought in a bunch of new pieces, but man, I see him going 6-0. Ohio State, I mean, okay, so if they're 6-1 at Michigan right after Ohio State, even if they drop that, that's 2. So that'd be, 10. That'd put them under. Man, Rob. I think I have to take the over here. And that's insane for that number. But I just look at their schedule. They don't have to go to USC. They do have to go to Washington. I mean, they get Purdue, but that's Purdue. They miss Iowa. They miss Oregon. They miss the UCLA, which could be a sneaky game. I'm going to have to take the over here. They're not losing to Nebraska. I'm sorry, Tom. They're not losing to Nebraska. I'm sorry. I love the Cornhuskers, but that's not happening, brother.
Yeah, I think the Cornhuskers are our team of the 80s or 90s, but I don't know what they were in 26. I got a couple of buddies who are really huge Nebraska fans, man, and we chat about Nebraska all the time. And here lately, man, they just have not been happy. I really feel like they got to go to Nebraska and play there. Can Nebraska get them a really good game like Nebraska gave Ohio State a couple of years ago? They got to go to Michigan. Can Michigan be ready to turn the corner? They will already have maybe 6 or 7 games under their belt. Will they be ready to face an Indiana team? And then, of course, they got Ohio State at home. How good is Ohio State going to be at that point? I'm gonna take the over. I really think they're gonna end up being 10-2, but I'm gonna take the over, and I think they're gonna reach 11 wins. It's gonna come down to those sets of games, and they're all back to back at Nebraska, then Ohio State, then at Michigan. They could possibly stumble in 2 of those games. So Dom, I'm gonna give you a little bit of love, but I think Nebraska is gonna give them a game. All right, yeah, so
next should be Iowa next.
The Iowa Hawkeyes. Let's go. Iowa is one of those teams that we really feel like we know they're going to play really good defense. They play some exceptional defense, and they run the ball really, really well. Their over and under is 7.5. Looking at their schedule, do you think they get to 8 wins? Because I definitely believe that they can at least be an 8-win team. But they do have some games on their schedule where it could go either way. What's your thoughts on this Iowa team?
This is another Illinois-type team to me. I mean, Iowa State, what are they going to be this year? So we'll see what they're going to do. But that's a rivalry game, so who knows? But they get them at home, so that's an advantage. I don't think they beat Michigan this year. If they're not, I don't see them beating Ohio State. Washington's a swing game. It's at Washington, though. Man, it's really going to come down, I think, to that final 2 games of the season to see if they can get to 8. Illinois and Nebraska. I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to go 8-4.
You're going to go 8-4 on Iowa. I really like Iowa, man, and I think this year they're going to be able to beat Iowa. So say it again.
Dom.
Dom, yeah. Yeah, 0-12. Yeah. Dom, you must not like those Iowa Hawkeyes. I think that this year they're going to beat Iowa State, so that's going to be a plus for them. But then they get Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington all back-to-back. That's going to be a tough slate for them. They at Michigan, they're at Washington, but they get Ohio State at home. Right here, they might lose 2 of those 3 games. But then they get Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska. That backstretch, I think they get to 8 wins. I really feel like this Iowa team need to find a way to turn the corner. And I don't think they're going to do it this year because you got some juggernauts in Ohio State and Oregon and the talent that they have. And we expect for Michigan to be really good in Indiana. The way they've been playing the past 2 years, we expect them to be right there as well. So I'm going to take the over on these Iowa Hawkeyes as well. Let's move on to our next team, which is the Maryland Terrapins. 4.5 wins is their over and under. Will they get the 5 wins? What's your thoughts on this Maryland team? I know they got a really good quarterback back for his second year. We really, really are high on him and really like him. What do you think about Maryland?
Oh, my goodness. A dynamic quarterback for sure. But, man, I see the under here, to be honest with you. Their schedule's nice, but, Rob, I don't see it. I don't see them. I don't see them getting Virginia Tech. I don't see them getting UCLA, which UCLA does have to come all the way across the country. We know Dom is going to like Nebraska to beat them. Ohio State will beat them. Rutgers, I'm going under. I think they get Hampton, UConn, Purdue. I see maybe 4 wins, so I'm going to have to take the under here.
Yeah, I'm not high on Maryland at all, even though I love their quarterback. I don't know that they get there. I think they can get Hampton, of course. I think they can get UConn. I don't think they can get Virginia Tech. I don't see them getting UCLA or Nebraska or Ohio State. Rutgers, they might get Rutgers. That's going to be one of them swing games. I don't see they can get Purdue, so I got them at 4 now. No, I'm not going to give it. No, you know what? I'm going to say they get 5 wins. You say it under. I'm going over. I'm going to say they get the 5 wins because they're going to win one of those swing games between Rutgers and Wisconsin. I think they're going to get Hampton and UConn, and I think they also can get Purdue. So the 2 swing games I got on their schedule is Rutgers and Wisconsin, and I think they get one of those. So I'm going to give them 5 wins, and I think they're going to finish the season 5-7.
Well, that's there. I mean, Wisconsin is going to be whatever. Rutgers, those were the games I'm looking at. So, you could see 5, but I'm going to say 4 and 8. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I hope they make me right. Let's go to our next team, which is the Michigan Wolverines, a
It's
team
Michigan
that
State.
really. Oh, Michigan State. I'm sorry, Michigan
Sorry.
State Spartans. Listen, Michigan State is really in a lot of turmoil right now, man, on which direction their program is going to go. And their over and under is 4.5 wins. What do you think about this team? Can they get the 5 wins? I see they got a couple of games early in the season that they could possibly win, but Toledo is nothing to sneeze at. That team has been able to upset somebody every year. What do you think about Michigan State, and can they get the 5 wins?
Man, this team, they lost Marsh to Indiana. Rob, I'm taking the over. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to give them the first 2 games. Toledo, Eastern Michigan, obviously a loss. I've got them. I'm giving them a win versus Northwestern, Rutgers. That's 2. And I think they get either Nebraska or Wisconsin. Probably Wisconsin more than Nebraska. So I'm going to go with the over.
Damn, Michigan State. He got them beating your Nebraska Cornhuskers. Listen, I think they're going to get to 4 wins. And it's going to depend on whether or not they can beat Rutgers in that last game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have 3 wins up to that point. But will they get at least 4 wins against Rutgers? I'm going under on this. I don't think they get to 5 wins. I think 4 is probably their ceiling, and 2 is probably their floor. I'm not high on this Michigan State team at all. I hope they get this thing turned around, because we need Michigan State to at least give Michigan some kind of trouble in the battle for that state. But it don't look like it's going to happen this season. And Don said, HELL, no.
They're not. They're not going to beat Nebraska.
Yeah, we don't think they're going to beat Nebraska. We had to throw that out there for you.
But that Wisconsin could be one they get, and they could get Northwestern.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Northwestern, they play somebody tough every year too, and they give really good games to teams that they are pretty evenly matched up against too. So I can see that being a really good matchup.
Let's get this next one loaded.
Next up, we got the Michigan Wolverines. Their over and under is 8.5. This is a team last year with a true freshman quarterback in Underwood. We expect to turn the corner, but he has some serious quarterback competition there in Michigan. You know, this guy came in with all of this hype and stuff and making all of this so-called money. He got plucked away from LSU. Is he going to be able to turn the corner? Is Kyle Whittingham and that offensive staff going to be able to get this guy where he needs to be in a really tough conference, being at the Big Ten? Can you see them getting the 9 wins? That's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Do you see 9 wins on this schedule for the Michigan Wolverines?
No, I see 8. I really do. First year under the coach. What's Underwood going to do this year? They lost a running back down to where I think Georgia Tech. I think that's where he went. He went to another school, transferred out. I don't know. I don't see 9. Not under the first year, learning all this. I mean, I know he brought some guys with him from Utah. 0-12 too. Dom, you crazy. They'll obviously smack Western Michigan around probably. Oklahoma is going to be a challenge. They do get them at home, so that's a plus. That's going to tell us a lot, that week 2 game against Oklahoma. If they beat Oklahoma, then this team will go over 9 in my mind. We'll get to 9. If they get pummeled by Oklahoma, I think this is an 8-4, 7-5 team. They'll get UTEP, Iowa. That's at home, luckily. We'll see. Minnesota, they should beat. Penn State is the one team, too, we don't know. We don't know what they're going to do. Indiana's a loss. Rutgers, they should beat Michigan State. But that back 3 games could be tricky. Oregon, UCLA, Ohio State. That could be 3 losses in a row right there. With this Michigan team, that could be 3 wins in a row right there. But I'm going to take 8-4 is where I'm sitting with Michigan.
Yeah, I really want to get them the over on this, man. But there's a couple of games on there that really have me concerned. When you think about this Michigan team, defensively, I think they're going to be really good again, defensively, like they were a couple of years ago. They got a lot of really key pieces, a lot of guys who have played a lot of football at Michigan. What concerns me is you get Iowa at home, that's going to be a gritty game. Can you pull that one out? You got Oklahoma at home. Can you get past that Oklahoma defense and win that game? They played Oklahoma pretty close last year until the second half, and then I think the wheels fell off. We don't know what you're going to get out of Penn State, but one thing we know for sure is Matt Campbell's teams are going to always come and play some physical style of football, and they're going to match the intensity and the physicality of a Michigan team. Can they get that one? And then when you look at that back 6, you get Indiana, you get Oregon, you get Ohio State, and we ain't quite sure what UCLA is going to be, but we know at the end of the season, UCLA was a much different team the back half of the season once they changed their coaching regime. I don't, man, it's going to be tough, man. Michigan fans out there, don't hate me, but I don't think you get to 9 wins. I think your ceiling is 9 wins, but your floor is probably 7, possibly even 6 with this schedule. I'm going to go under as well, SEC Sean.
Here's the trick to me if you look at this, the first 4 games only. Just look at the first 4. They have to go 3-1 in that stretch. If they're 2-2 in that stretch, then it's going to be 8-4, 7-5. If they're 3-1, we'll see. But if you drop to Oklahoma and Iowa and you're sitting 2-2 with the back half loaded like it is with Indiana, and then you do get a couple of layups there in the middle, but then that back 3, I mean, that could be 3 losses. You're looking at 7-5, which first-year program, we'll see what happens. But I'm sitting 8-4. I think they go 3-1 in that first 4.
Yeah, I think I got them going at least 5-1 in that first 6. But that back 6, it looks more like a 3-3 to me. Can they get Indiana? That's the one. And then, of course, they got Ohio State at home in the Big House. I mean, it's at Ohio State in the shoe. Can they get that? And Dom is saying realistically, he think they're going to go 8-4. That's about where I had them at too, Dom. I think SEC Sean got them right there too. I just don't see them getting to 9 wins. That's a really tough schedule to get to 9 wins with a sophomore quarterback.
And Dom, I see you asking about Nebraska. Just for you, we're going to put Nebraska last, so you have to stay around for the whole thing.
Next up, we got the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Row the boat, row the boat, row the boat. Their over and under is 6.5. I think that the Minnesota Golden Gophers is one of those middle of the pack teams, somewhere between maybe 6 and 12. What's your thoughts on this Minnesota Golden Gopher team?
Minnesota. Yeah, no, I mean, I was on mute. I knew I was counting. I didn't want everybody to hear me counting. Real quick side note here. Has everybody heard about what Akron is doing? Akron has had everybody that wanted to buy season tickets, which, mind you, were going for about $70 for the whole season. And if you bought season tickets, they put your name into a drawing to go up into the press box and call the first offensive drive of the season.
Wow.
Now, my question is, and I'm just bringing it up because they're on here real quick. What happens if I go up there and call plays and we march down the field and score a touchdown, and then the OC takes over and we go 3-and-out? So maybe I can apply. I don't know. But I thought it was a pretty neat little thing. But $70 for season tickets to a college football team, that's insane. Minnesota has a good returning quarterback. I've talked about him a little bit before. He's a kid out of Arkansas. I got in a little bit of trouble in Fayetteville over the offseason, but we'll see how he does. They need to get to 7. And, I mean, they can get Wisconsin. They could get Penn State. I don't think they get Penn State. I mean, so they got Wisconsin, possibly Northwestern would be 2. Purdue would be 3. Akron 4, Eastern Illinois 5. That Mississippi State's going to be their swing. What happens there? Kamario Taylor is not a joke, y'all. Out of Mississippi State, that kid's really good. I'm going under, Rob. I'm going 6-6 here. Look at the stretch from September 26th to November 21st, that little 6-game stretch right there. Washington, Michigan, Iowa, Indiana, UCLA, Penn State. That's going to define their season right there. So I'm going 6-6 on Minnesota, and that's where we're going to leave the Gophers.
Man, I'm looking at their schedule, and I only see three wins for sure. That's Eastern Illinois, Akron, Purdue. I don't know that they can beat Washington. I don't think they beat Mississippi State, bro. I don't think
it's on the road. It's on the road. That's what concerns me.
But man, that Mississippi State team, they got some players, bro. They're gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And I think they can beat a team like Minnesota. I hope they do, because those Big Ten guys that have been talking all that stuff, those Ohio State fan guys that usually are on the show, I want to be able to say that a SEC team beat a freaking Big Ten team, and it was not during bowl season, because you know they clamor about bowl season and the fact that they beat the SEC in the bowl season, as if bowl season is bowl season back in the 90s, the 2000s. You know, we're talking 2026 when a lot of guys ain't even trying to play in bowl games. Yeah, you can have those. But anyway,
I'm just concerned about traveling on the road, Rob, with that young team. That's what concerns me the most with Mississippi State. I mean, Kamario only really played the last 2 games of the season, and the Egg Bowl was in Starkville last year.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been on the road. Now, Minnesota's probably not as intimidating an environment that he's going to see in the SEC or Ohio State or Oregon or one of those, but I'm just a little leery about that travel is what's holding me back on them winning that game.
Yeah, and the good thing is that Mississippi State travel up there to Minnesota before it gets cold too. So that's a plus for them as well, in my opinion. But them the only 3 wins I see. I think they're gonna have a tough matchup against Washington. They got to travel there. They get Michigan at home, but we know Michigan's probably much more talented than them. They get Iowa at home. Iowa's probably going to be much more physical than them. We know what Indiana's going to do to them at Indiana. They got to travel. They get UCLA at home. They might be able to, because they got to travel all the way across the country. Penn State, Northwestern, Wisconsin. I'm going under. I don't think they get even near 6 wins. I think 4 wins is probably middle, between the floor and the ceiling for them. I don't think they get the 7 wins. That's for sure. All right. Now we get to help our man Dom get to talk about his Nebraska Cornhuskers. They are at over and under of 6.5. Dom, you give us your prediction in the chat on how many wins you think your Nebraska Cornhuskers get. I don't know about this Nebraska team, man. I've been waiting for them to turn the corner in the Big Ten, and they haven't done it yet. What's your thoughts on Nebraska? And can they turn the corner? They won't have Dylan Raiola. What's your thoughts on this team?
Man, I like Nebraska a lot, always have, just the way they do things there, the way those fans show up no matter what. One of the premier programs in college football. No, they've been down for a while, and that happens. It's just a matter of finding the right fit, I think. I don't think they have the right fit at coach. I don't. I just don't. They've got to figure something out, though. They're lucky here in the fact that they have a very favorable front half of the schedule to build some confidence. If they go 12-0, please hit me up directly and I'll send you some free tickets to a Columbus Blue Jackets game, because that's not going to happen. I can see them 5-0 to start the season. I really can. But then all hell breaks loose. And then you've got Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Illinois, Rutgers lay up there, Ohio State, and at Iowa. I think the back half from October 10th forward is going to be potentially one win, maybe two. And that would be getting Rutgers, either a combination of Illinois, Rutgers, or Iowa. But I think they do start 5-0. So if they get Rutgers at 6, you know what? For Dom, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go 7-5 for them. I think they lose to Iowa and Illinois, but I think they get Illinois and they get Rutgers and they get the first 5 to go to 7.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking them on the over on this, because I think they start 5-0 as well, SEC Sean. And I think that they got a couple of swing games in there. They go to Illinois, but I think that they can beat the Illinois team. I think they can beat Rutgers, even though they go to Rutgers. And I think in the finale, they're going to play the Iowa Hawkeyes, and that could be 8 wins right there. Will they get Indiana? I don't think so. Will they get Oregon? I don't think so. Then that's a nice little 3-game stretch right there when they get Indiana, Oregon, and Washington. Those are all 3 really good games. But they get Indiana at home and they get Washington at home. That Washington game at home could be one of those swing games that Nebraska can get them, because they got to travel all the way there. I just hope the Nebraska fans just not being so nice and sweet in this one, and maybe they can get that win over Washington. But their fans are just so freaking nice, man. It's unbelievable how nice they are. And I can see them definitely beating that 7. They can get past that. I realistically got them going 8-4. They could possibly get to 9-3 with losses only to Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State, because they could possibly get Iowa as well. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I know for sure I see 3 losses. 8-4 is my prediction, but they could go 9-3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a swing. I mean, they've got a little stretch there it's going to define it. That whole stretch from Indiana through Illinois is probably going to define whether they go over this or not.
Dom, I really hope that they're up for that challenge against Indiana and Ohio State. I think when they play teams like that in the Big Ten, they typically play a lot better than they do against the teams who we think that they're evenly matched up against. They usually play to that competition, and whenever they play the better teams in the Big Ten, they play them a little bit better. Hopefully they can find the offense that they need in order to score enough points to compete with Indiana and Ohio State. But I think they're going to play them better than what people think as well.
Yeah, the advantage, you get both of them at home.
Yeah, you get them both at the crib.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you. College football, this is one of the teams that makes college football better when they're good.
When they're good, yeah. I really hope they do travel and go back to the Big 12, man, because I would love to see them down there thumping some skulls down there
Yeah.
where they were before, going down there playing some of the teams. But you know that's a wide open game. Nebraska is built more for the Big Ten in terms of how they want to play their playing style. But I think the Big 12 is where they probably will get the most bang for their buck. Next up, we got Northwestern. What's your thoughts on Northwestern, the academic school? Every year they play somebody really, really tough, and they pull off an upset every year. Do you see that in the making this year, and can they get the 6 wins?
I mean, they just spent a whole bunch of money revamping their athletic facilities over there, so that's a big plus. Don't sleep on that first game with South Dakota State. That's a good Division II squad down there, or FCS, I guess, whatever you want to call them. Colorado, who knows? Man, I've got them. I really have them 2-2, 4-2 after the first 6. I think they do get 8. Rutgers, I mean, they could be 5-2, but then, I mean, Oregon, Iowa, I mean, Ohio State, that's probably 3 losses in a row right there. Minnesota's a swing. I mean, I can get them to, man, 5. Can they get Minnesota or Illinois to get to 6? No. 5-7. Right on the edge. I can't do it.
I can't get them to 6 wins either, man. I can't give them 6-6 with this schedule that they got and make a bowl game. Maybe they'll make a bowl game at 5-7 because their academics will get them in there over everybody else. I just don't see it, man. I see them at 5-7 as well. Can they get one of these wins over somebody like Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota to possibly get there? They would have to win a game. And we really don't know what they're going to do against Colorado. I don't think Colorado's going to be that good, but are they going to be able to beat Colorado? I don't think they beat Indiana or Penn State. I think they get Ball State, Michigan State, Rutgers. Can they go on a 3-game win streak right there and then get woke up by Oregon? I don't see it, SEC, Sean. I got them at 5-7 at best.
Yeah, same. Let's see who we got next.
Next, we got the Ohio State Buckeyes. Man, we really feel really high about this Ohio State team. And we know that they always reload and got a lot of talent, but they lost a lot of talent on their team on the defensive side of the football. And their offensive line wasn't that great, especially when they played really good competition. What's your thoughts on Ohio State? They don't have the highest over and under total. That resides right there with Indiana right now. They're at 9.5. Can you see them getting to 10 wins with this schedule, which I think is one of the toughest schedules in the country?
Man, I'm kind of afraid to say this, but I don't know that I see 9 wins, Rob. I may see 8-4. And I mean, I'm hoping I can go outside and not get attacked. That Texas game is going to swing it one way or the other. I made my comments on that yesterday at the end of our show. I think that's a loss for Ohio State. They're at Iowa. I don't care what people say. That's a tricky place to play. So you got to watch that. At Indiana, I don't see them getting that one. Then they got to travel all the way to USC. Then they back that up with Oregon. So I'm looking. I've got them beating Michigan, Nebraska, Northwestern. That's 3. I've got them losing to Oregon. I'll give them USC's 4. I'll give them Maryland 5. Iowa, Illinois. 9-3. I mean, that's where I've got it. 9-3. The swing game to me is Texas. If they beat Texas, 10-2. If they lose to Texas, 8-3, unless they happen to trip up somewhere else. But I'm going to have to take the under on Ohio State, and I didn't think I'd say that in recent times.
Man, these odds makers, they know what they're talking about, bro. They know what they're talking about. They don't put these numbers out there just for bait. They know what they're talking about. And this is my bold prediction about these Ohio State Buckeyes. And I told everybody yesterday, I'm probably going to have a bold prediction on one of these shows about these Buckeyes. They go 9-3 at best, and they do not make the college football playoffs. Now, I know they got a tough schedule, and I know that committee, Ohio State team at 9-3, will still look really, really nice looking at this schedule. But I really feel like they're going to take a back seat, man, because we really don't know who's the other wide receiver with Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, Brandon Ennis played a lot last year, but he's not a world beater. You can double and triple Jeremiah Smith and not have to worry about anybody else. Yeah, they got some other guys on that team, but are they ready to step into that role? We've seen them struggle last year whenever Tate was out or whenever Jeremiah Smith was out. We've seen Julian Sain have issues when one of those guys was out, and we also seen Julian Sain have issues whenever they played against really good competition that could put pressure on him. We don't know what Ohio State is. Now, they're saying they're bringing back all these offensive lineman guys, but they weren't world beaters last year. What makes us think they're going to be world beaters this year? They bring in a new offensive coordinator. They lose a lot on defense, and they got a schedule like this, a schedule like what we thought Indiana should have been national champions, but Indiana got the scheduling guys on their side on this one. Ohio State does not. This is going to be a really tough schedule, and I'm telling you now, when it comes down to that Michigan game, Ohio State will probably already have 3 losses. Would they lose to Michigan at their crib, in the shoe, and freaking go 8-4 and dash any hopes of possibly making it to the college football playoffs? I got Ohio State going 9-3. I know that those Big Ten guys are probably out there talking trash. All those Ohio State guys out there probably like, man, this dude is crazy. But listen, you look at that schedule, and realistically, Ohio State can go 9-3. And if they lose to Michigan, 8-4.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said. I mean, you said it too. That was your bold take. I do think a 9-3 Ohio State team with that schedule gets in, unless you have an 11-1 SMU, an 11-1 Louisville, Houston at 10-2, BYU at 11-1. This is going to be jumbled. There's talk that the SEC may only get 3 teams in based on records. So 9-3 is not going to guarantee anything for an Ohio State team, even with that schedule. But, man, we're going to have to see how this plays out, because there's going to be some people up in arms if Ohio State goes 9-3. Ryan Day there's going to be some clamor in there.
I mean, you really look at the history of Ohio State, though. They've had some really super talented teams, and they didn't get the job done. Now, we know that they've won, 3 or 4 national championships in the past 25 years. but they've had some teams that we thought were juggernauts. A la last year's team, we thought they were the best team in the country, and what they do, they lose to Indiana and they lose to Miami. Two teams that ran the ball at them down their throat and took advantage of the weakness of, I think, that Ohio State team, which was whatever it was, their run defense. I mean, Texas had a putrid run offense, but they ran for 160 yards on Ohio State. So I think the Miamis of the world and the Oregons of the world understood that. And this year, Ohio State got a lot of tests to prove how talented that they are. And we'll get to see that. Let's go to our next team, and we got the Oregon Ducks. The team that we really feel like is, in my opinion, I think they're the best team in the country in terms of on paper, all the people they're bringing back. I know you had Notre Dame at number 1 in your top 25. I had Oregon at number 1 in my top 25. We all agree that they're one of the best teams in the country, one of the most talented teams in the country. Their over and under is 10.5. Looking at their schedule, do you see 11 wins?
Probably. The only, I'm not going to say the only, the game that's going to determine over and under is Ohio State. The problem is they have to come to Columbus. And we know that place is going to be electric for that game. Unless Ohio State already has 2 losses, then who knows? Man, 11 wins, Rob, is I'm going to take 11 wins. I'm going to go 11. I'm going to go 11-1. And I don't know where the loss comes. Man, I'm going to take the over here. I'm looking at this schedule. They're going to smack Boise State, Oklahoma State. I mean, we know what they can do offensively, but I mean, I don't think they could stop a nosebleed with a whole truckload of Kleenex. Portland State and give me at USC. Okay. But Rob, anybody in the chat, if you go look at the defensive ranking shows we've done position by position, you'll see why I'm saying 11-0 or 11-1, more likely 12-0 for this team. They are loaded on both sides. But that defensive line is going to be nasty. I'm going over. I've got to take the over here.
Yeah, I'm going over too. I mean, we all know that Oregon is a regular season team. They're going to do everything in the regular season. Our concern with them is what you're going to do when you get in the playoffs. But I think with this team that they have now, they could possibly make a really deep run in the playoffs, make it to at least a semifinal game, probably even a national championship game. I think on this schedule, they got Ohio State, they got USC. They go to both of those places. But I think outside of those 2 games, I think they're in pretty good shape. They get Michigan at home. I think they can beat a Michigan team, even though it's later on in the season. And Michigan's going to have some turmoil at that point because they got to play Oregon, and then 2 weeks later they got to go and play Ohio State. So hopefully Michigan can weather that storm. But I really only see 2 teams on here that could possibly keep them under that 10.5, and I don't think both of them get the win over Oregon. So I got Oregon going at least 11-1. 12-0 is very, very likely, though. Very likely. Next up, we got Penn State, the Penn State Nittany Lions, a team that we know last year did not live up to the hype. I think they went 7-6 last year. They're over and under this year's 8-5. But man, the scheduling gods must love Penn State because they gave them one of the weakest schedules in the group. I mean, in the Power Four. especially in the Big Ten. What's your thoughts on Penn State? Can they get the 9 wins with this schedule? What's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts? You're on mute.
This is going to be a quick move, I think, off this one. I see 9 wins. I see 10 wins. Their toughest games, looking at it on paper, USC, Michigan, Washington. Even dropping those 3, you're 9-3. I think Penn State's going 9-3, 10-2. The trick is at 10-2, I don't see them in the playoff even. This schedule is so weak. So, which is what you need when you're a first-year coach trying to rebuild things. You need an easy schedule, and boy, did they get it. Again, I'll mention it. Arkansas probably should have called Penn State's scheduling coordinator and asked for something like this because Arkansas is in trouble. But, yeah, I've got Penn State going over. I just think their schedule's too favorable for that team.
Yeah, see, this is one of those situations that I've talked about several times. You're going to get a team like Penn State who is going to benefit from this schedule, going to mess around and be 10-2, which is making very even more unlikely that a 9-3 Ohio State team can get in the freaking playoffs, because here you got a 10-2 Penn State team who we know is probably nowhere near as good as Ohio State, but they'll get the nod into the college football playoffs because of this freaking schedule. I think they're going to go way beyond that 8.5. I think they're going to get the 10 wins. I see them at 10-2. I just hate the fact that we have situations like this, and I think we saw a little bit of it last year with some of the teams who were right on the outside of the college football playoffs. And I think that Oklahoma team that was inside we know they had a good defense, but were they a top 12 team in the country in terms of making it to the freaking college football playoffs? I don't think they were. But I'm telling you, time 18-188, I believe the diva Aaron Rodgers is going to get his job taken by Drew Aller as well. I think the reason why they drafted Drew Aller is because they felt like Penn State never used Drew Aller in the proper manner according to his skill set. And I think now that an organization like the Pittsburgh Steelers have him, they're going to find a way to bring out that talent that Drew Aller has, and I expect him to get that job. And I wouldn't even waste no time on taking a lot of time letting Aaron Rodgers have that position, because the future is not Aaron Rodgers. It's just not.
The future can't be Aaron Rodgers. He's like 87.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's see where we are next. Oh, God. Do we really have to do this one?
No, we don't have to do this one at all. Purdue, over and under at 3. I think they go 0-12. Where do you see a win at on their schedule? Indiana State?
Maybe. Yeah.
That might be their only win, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, 1-11.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I see.
That's what I see too. 1-11. I don't think that they beat anybody else on this schedule, man. Tough sledding for you, Purdue. Keep producing those players that all the other Power 4 teams want to pluck from you in the transfer portal.
Right.
That's your job.
Oh, see, here we go. We're getting into the meat of the nothings.
Rutgers. Over and under 4.5. What's your thoughts on Rutgers, man? Rutgers a few years ago had a really good team. They had a really good running game, played pretty decent defense. Of course, my Texas Longhorns, and you know I always got to plug them every chance I get. Grab Bo Masco for the cornerback from them. So, and Bo Masco is going to be an integral part of that Texas defense. What's your thoughts on this Rutgers Scarlet Knights?
Ooh. Well, they don't play Purdue, so that can't give them that win. I'm gonna give them the first two. I'll go 3-1 to start the season. They're gonna lose to USC, but they should beat the other three on there. Boston College is not good, but that's at Boston College. We'll see. So even if they're 3-1, I'm not sure I see another win. Maybe Maryland they can get. That's 4. I don't think I see another win. I think the ceiling for this team is 4-8. And I really think it's more like 3-9. So I'm going under with Rutgers.
I'm going to get them the over. I'm going to say they beat Michigan State in the last game of the season and get the 5 wins because I think they beat Massachusetts, Boston College, Howard, Maryland. And then I think at the last game of the season, they beat freaking Michigan State to get the 5 wins. Scarlet Knights proved me right, but I think that's all you get is those 5 wins. But the ceiling probably is 4.
I think Michigan State's going to be much better at that point of the season. So that's why I didn't give them that win.
Or they might be packing it in. That's what I'm thinking of them packing it in.
One or the other, but I just think Michigan State will be a lot better by then. So that's why I didn't give it to them and kept them under. But I see where you're going over. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here and move on to somebody else.
Yeah, we got UCLA. A team that we think is going to be much better than what they were last year. I really like what they were doing the back half of the season. They're over and under 6.5. Do we see 7 wins on their schedule? I think they play some really good competition that's going to get them prepared to get to 7 wins. But do you see them getting there?
Yes, I do. I see them running the first 4-0. They could get Wisconsin 5, so they'd be 5-1 after the first 6. So you only got to find 2 wins. And if you look over on the right side, you've got Michigan State and Nevada. There's your 2 wins. Now you're at 7. Can you pop Minnesota for 8? Can you pop Illinois for 9? Can you go 9-3? I like Bob Chesney. That dude can coach. We've seen what James Madison has done. We've seen what James Madison coaches have done when they move on to bigger schools. I'm smashing the UCLA over here. I'm going 9-3, 8-4, probably at worst.
You know, SEC, Sean, I'm getting on this UCLA hype train, bro. I got them going 9-3. I see the Oregon loss, maybe USC, maybe Michigan, but I mean, 10-2 could possibly even be possible if they can get Michigan or USC. But I definitely believe they can go 9-3 for sure. I like the fact that they got a schedule like this to really build their confidence. I'm hoping that a 9-3 season, a 10-2 season, will allow them to start to get some players out of the transfer portal. I think the starting safety is going to be Byron Threet, a student I had in elementary school that transferred from Cincinnati to UCF to UCLA. He'll be in his final season. I expect him to be the starting safety there, a guy who can come down in that box and thump some folks. I hope that he has a phenomenal season. I got him going at least 9-3. I like this UCLA team, and I love their coach too. I love their coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we got USC. And I know we've all been kind of, some of us like USC, some of us don't like USC. They really haven't deserved to get maybe the love that I'm giving them. But I think USC turns the corner this year and is one of the better teams in the Big Ten, possibly the 4th best team in this conference. How do you see USC getting to 9 wins, or do you not see them getting to 9 wins?
I don't know that I see them getting to 9. I see them taking the first 4, obviously. I see a loss to Oregon. Washington swingish for me. I don't know. I'll give them that win, so they're 5-1. At Penn State, going all the way over there. What's Penn State going to be? At Wisconsin, they should get. They'll lose the next 2. So I had 5, 6, 7. I don't think they get UC. I don't know, Rob. I don't think they get to 9. I think they're 8-4. And I say that based on Lincoln Riley. They're going to score points. I'm not sure they're going to be able to stop people. UCLA is going to be really good by that point of the year, I think. Washington's got a pretty good offense. They've got a good quarterback. Maryland has a good quarterback, just nothing else around him, really. So that's iffy. And like I said, with Penn State, I'm going 8-4. I'm going to go 8-4 with them. I don't see it. I know they're super talented, but the problem is when you look at that recruiting class they brought in, most of it was offensive weapons with receivers and stuff. And they've got a great quarterback out there too, but I'm going to go 8-4. That's where I'm sitting with USC.
Yeah, for me, for them, can they go 2-1 on that West Coast, man? Can they go 2-1 when they face Oregon, Washington, UCLA? If they can do that, I can see them going 9-3, being right there on the outside, hoping for a playoff berth. Man, I don't think they get Indiana. I don't think they get Ohio State. I don't think they get Oregon. But can they get Washington? Can they get UCLA? That's the only way they get the 9 wins. They have to beat both of those teams for me in order to get there. So it's going to come down really to that UCLA game. If they beat Washington, can they get UCLA in the finale? I think they do, even though it's at UCLA. So I'm going to get them over. I think they get the 9-3. I'm really hoping so because I'm a huge Gary Patterson fan, and I think he's by that point he'll have that defense playing a lot better. He'll probably simplify some things for those defensive backs so that they're not so overwhelmed by what he wants them to be in year 2, 3, and 4 if he's there that long. If Lincoln Riley is there that long, because if he don't get that defense fixed, they're going to be looking to go somewhere else with their head coach. And maybe that's why they brought Gary Patterson in. Maybe they're going to give him the shit. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you mentioned 9-3 playoff outside. The problem with that is if they're 9-3 and Ohio State's 9-3, Ohio State has the head-to-head.
Yeah, got the head-to-head, yeah.
So I don't see them in the playoff this year. But.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way to get in that playoffs at some point. Otherwise, Lincoln Riley, he got to lose his job, man. And I know, everybody talked about James Franklin and him losing his job, even though he always had those good records at Penn State. He just couldn't beat Ohio State and Michigan. But sometimes it comes down to that, man. If you don't win those games that you need to win to get yourself to the ultimate prize, which is the college football playoffs with a chance to win it, then sometimes you just got to part ways because there's way too many really good football coaches coming up in the ranks that can take that job and probably go do something with it.
Well, go back a couple years ago when Michigan won 4 in a row against Ohio State. People were screaming that Ryan Day needs to be fired. Then he turns around and wins the national championship. So, people are always going to scream for stuff like that. The fans are, but yeah, it was that was, you got to beat the big game. You got to win the big games. So,
yeah, you sure do. Next up, we got the Washington Huskies. They're over and under 7.5. We really like their quarterback and some of the other pieces that they have. But do you realistically see this team as an 8-win team to get the over?
I got 5, 6. No. Okay, you're 4-0. Can you get Iowa to go to 5-1 in the first 6, or are you going to be 4-2? Purdue, you can get. Nebraska, we already know Dom said nobody's beaten Nebraska, so except Washington's probably going to. What's Penn State? What's Michigan State? Yeah, I mean, they're right on that 7-win mark, 7-8, right there. It's going to take the swing games versus Iowa, Nebraska, and in my mind, those two are the swing games that are going to flip, whether they're 8-4 or 6-6, or they could go, 7-5. I have to take the under, I think, here. Their schedule's not bad, but they've got some tricky games. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take the over because I think they're going to get Iowa, who has to come to Washington is the reason. And I think they get Nebraska. So, yeah, I'm going to go 8-4. I like their quarterback, too.
Man, I mean, I see 6 wins for sure. But like you mentioned, Iowa, you mentioned Penn State. Are they going to be able to win those 2 games to get to 8? And I don't know. Now, Iowa does have to go to Washington, but Iowa is so freaking disciplined and their defense is usually really, really good. You don't find them getting themselves out of position. They might be able to rattle the quarterback and be able to make some plays and win that game and grind it out against them. And Penn State, can they get that win too? I'm going to take the over. I'm going to think they get the 8 wins and go 8-4 this year. But they're gonna have to win those 2 games right there, man. The one against Iowa and the one against Penn State. Nebraska as well. Can they go 2-1 in those 3 games? Iowa, Nebraska, Penn State.
That's what I was looking at, and you get Penn State having to come all the way across too.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go 2-1 in that stretch, and I think they will. So yeah, I'm going 8 as well.
Me too. I'm gonna go 8-4 for them. Last team we got on the docket, Wisconsin, a team that we've talked a lot about. We really feel like maybe they should have moved on from their coach, Mr. Fickell. They did not. He's there again. But looking at this schedule, they're over and under 6.5. We all feel like if he goes 7-5, that he can save his job. Anything less than that, he probably does not save his job because I think it will probably be time to move on from Mr. Fickell. Luke, that is. What do you think about this Wisconsin Badgers team? Can they get the 7 wins with a chance to keep their coach's job secure?
I don't know at 7-5 he should keep his job even. Wisconsin was always a really good program, and they're not right now. They're going to get their ego crushed really fast, really early this season. That's not going to be anything that they want to deal with. Wisconsin has also had a problem with, they start off decent, not counting this year, but then like their quarterback gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have no offense at that point. It reminded me of Syracuse last year. Syracuse looked like world beaters, and then Angeli went down and it was done. The same with Wisconsin. They just can't stay healthy. They're going to get thumped by Notre Dame. We know that. They should win the next 2. Penn State probably gets them because they got to go to Penn State. They should get Michigan State. I think they lose. They're 3-3 after 6.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to go 4-2 on the back 6 to get to 7. Their schedule lays out for it. If you think about the way teams normally are, they'll lose to USC, probably lose to Iowa. Okay, so you're 3-5. Could be 4-5, 5-5. You could be 5-5 going to Purdue and Minnesota, which could be 6 and 7 wins. I just don't know that I see it. I don't know that this team plays consistently enough to beat a Minnesota who's going to have a pretty good offense, and Minnesota's had a pretty good defense here lately too. I'm going under. I'm going 6-6, 5-7, and Mr. Fickle is probably holding up a sign looking for his next coaching position.
Yeah, for me, I agree with everything you said on that front six and that last six. I think they go 4-0 in those last 4 games to get the 7 wins. I think they beat Rutgers. I think they beat Maryland. I think they beat Purdue. And I think they beat Minnesota in the finale to go 7-5. But I still think Fickle probably need to go to another destination, especially if they don't have a good recruiting class that comes in and signs on the dotted line in December. And if they don't have a lot of their players that could return saying they're going to come back. If they got a guys hitting the portal, then they might need to make a decision on moving away from him because they're not going to be able to compete in this Big Ten unless they can get back to what they were able to do in the past with a really good running game, really good solid defense, and playing good special teams and stuff like that. But I got them going 7-5. I'm going with the over for them. Anything else you want to add about this Big Ten conference and the over and unders that we went through? We had quite a few unders, quite a few overs. We all agree who the best, probably top 4 teams are in Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan. Do you think UCLA can – I'm not UCLA, but USC can bump Michigan and be a top 4 team in this conference? What's your thoughts on this conference as a whole before we wrap up?
This conference is a little screwy. I'm trying to see where this game is real quick, too, because I noticed that Wisconsin Notre Dame is a neutral site. I'm trying to figure out where it is. It's bugged me now. Oh, they're playing at Lambeau. Man, the Big Ten, I think is Oregon, Indiana this year. I think Oregon is the head of this conference. Ohio State's still there, but as we talk, 9-3 is where we see them. This is going to be a crazy conference, but I think UCLA is the sleeper here. I think UCLA, people aren't paying as much attention to them as they should be. I think UCLA is going to bite some teams that they probably shouldn't. I have no faith in USC. I know you're a Gary Patterson guy. I get that. I'm not a Lincoln Riley guy either. But I think I'm just not sure what we're going to get from Underwood. This is like I said at the beginning, this conference and the SEC conference are super hard to pick because of your upper teams and your mid teams just beating up on each other, and then your bottom feeders that can eventually pop somebody. So we're going to see how it plays out, but I can tell you this is going to be the craziest stretch and the craziest year I've seen so far for the playoff committee to try to decide this.
Yeah, I agree with that last statement that you made for sure, because I think that there's going to be some situations in the SEC and in the Big Ten where you're going to have some teams who may not be as good as some of these teams that might finish with one loss more than them, and they get in over them because of their record. And I think we saw last year with the way that thing went last year. I just hope the committee can get it right, man. And I know they put themselves in a bind last year when they started off with Notre Dame being ahead of Miami, and then in the last one they put Miami ahead of them. They got to do a better job with that initial one. in order to make the rest of them make sense to those of us who watch that closely. But I like this conference. I think they have an opportunity to get 3 teams in, possibly even 4. I like the fact that at least Indiana does play Ohio State. Ohio State plays all of those top 3 teams. Michigan plays all of those top 3 teams. So we're going to get some really good football out of the Big Ten this year, like we do every year. But I think even their lower tier games are going to have some significance when it comes to this over and under that we just went through. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you again for those graphics, man. You've been handling the business, bro. You really helped us to go to another level when we do this channel, because we have been talking about graphics for maybe a month or 2, and now all of a sudden we find a way, and you've been able to make that happen for us, and we truly appreciate that.
Yeah, one thing to think about for everybody in the chat, and you included, if we go 9-3, A&M, Texas goes 9-3, Ohio State's 9-3, Michigan's 9-3, numerous others, and A&M beat Texas, but Texas beat Ohio State, and USC and Ohio State beat US. What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. So my thought process for coming up this Tuesday, just to give you and all the viewers a heads up, is I'm planning on everybody sending in their playoff teams, your preseason playoff teams in ranked order 1 through 12. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm planning on doing Tuesday.
Okay, cool. All right, we appreciate everybody for joining in and watching the show. Thank you, Time 188. Thanks, Dom. Everybody else out there in the chat, we truly appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button, and remember that we want you to hit that bell, so anytime we go live, you can get notifications when we're going live, because we really truly appreciate y'all support and being with us over these past 2 years, going into our 3rd year. We really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. SEC Sean, you enjoy the rest of your day, man. I hope this weather doesn't get any better than it's been the last week. My grass is probably this high because I can't get out there and cut it. Every time I get a chance to, it's raining.
No, I'm pretty sure that the lovely lady sitting behind me on the couch has got plans for me this afternoon. So,
yeah, I still got my granddaughter, so I know we got some stuff to do as well.
Yep. 100%.
All right, you enjoy the rest of your day, bro, and I'll see you again on Tuesday. But we be in the chat all day.
Oh yeah, we're good.
All right, take care. Be safe.
All right, you too.
All right, peace.